Correspondent Jordana Miller. Jordana, good to speak to you. Let's get a sense, first of all, of developments we're hearing on the ground, particularly at this refugee camp.
Well, as you said, at the Al-Maghazi refugee camp, which is located in central Gaza, reporting a devastating airstrike last night. Actually, it was this morning that most of us began to hear about this attack. The death toll now, according to the Gazan-run health ministry, is about 100, but again, it could rise. As you said, this looks like one of the deadliest single strikes since Israel's ground offensive began at the end of October. The Israeli army says that it is investigating the incident. From some eyewitnesses on the ground, including reporters, it appears that 4 houses were targeted. We may hear more about who lived in those houses from the Israeli army, but right now, this is, a deadly and tragic bombing coming on Christmas Eve, on what is already an incredibly somber Christmas here in the Middle East. So many events scaled back, canceled, Christmas trees not going up in places like Bethlehem because of the bloodshed. Christians and Palestinian Muslims here saying they simply can't celebrate when they know that there are so many people suffering in the Gaza Strip, not only those who have died and are mourning, but many who are hungry, who are cold. Remember, the rains are coming. This is now the beginning of really the winter here in the Middle East, and many people are living, in tents, and it's simply not good enough.
Jordana, brings us up to date with what is going on from Egypt, this 3-point plan for an end to the Gaza conflict. Talk us through it and whether there's likely to be any traction, particularly from Israel.
Right. So we're hearing that the Israeli War Cabinet will meet tonight and discuss this 3-phased proposal put on the table by Egypt. It has already been shown to the United States and to Hamas leaders, including Ismail Haniyeh, who was recently in Cairo. And it includes the first phase, at least a 2-week ceasefire in which Hamas would release 40 to 50 Israeli hostages, women, the remaining children, the elderly, and any injured hostages. Israel, in return, would again, at a rate of 3 to 1, release jailed Palestinians here in Israel that have committed a variety of security offenses. In phase 2, much like we saw with the first ceasefire deal, there would be an option to extend the ceasefire and release more Israeli hostages, this time female women that served in the IDF and were kidnapped as soldiers on October 7th, and bodies. There are at least over 20 bodies that Israel claims Hamas is holding, and likely more among the other 100 hostages, though we don't know how many. That would also buy another week or 2 of a ceasefire. But Israel's prime minister likely to have a tough time with phase 3 of this deal, which says essentially that Israel would agree to an all-for-all swap. The rest of the male captives, men and soldiers, in exchange for over 6,000 Palestinians jailed here. Israel has continuously and consistently said it will not talk about an all-for-all deal. It also calls for a Palestinian technocrat government to take over and for a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Israel, of course, believes that it wants, it has a role in post-Gaza, not to govern, but to be have a security role. So it will not. I do not believe Israel's prime minister will consider a full withdrawal. Plus, Israel's prime minister has been clear that he doesn't want any kind of version of the Palestinian Authority in the Gaza Strip.
Jordana, good to talk to you. While we're talking, both Hamas and the Islamic Jihad reportedly rejected the proposal. This is according to 2 Egyptian sources to Reuters in the past few minutes. We'll keep you on top of events there. Jordana Miller in Jerusalem.